Welcome to the Finance and Economic Development Committee, where we make finance fun.
All right, I think I'm done for this meeting.
I'm Mark Weber, Jonathan Smith, now I'm also throwing off Tim McCarthy, Amber Rathburn, Kayla Trago, and Bridget Cabot. We're all here, we're all on the camera. And we have a crowded night tonight, so I'm glad you were able to find a seat.
Full today. Got the brick wall. And
I just came off vacation, so. Approval of prior month's minutes, any objections? Nope. Alrighty. And we'll check that off. And Michelle Sweetser. Hi.
Hello.
We're going to talk to you about the Way Public Library Board. And would you like to come up to the podium if you're comfortable? Do that? Okay. And you can just say your name and address for the record.
Sure. Michelle Sweetser, 681 Streamview, Perrysburg.
Just down the street from me.
Cool.
At least for only another month or so.
Okay.
I'm one of the ones that put the sign.
Oh, yeah, there's a few of those.
Yes. Seems like as soon as we started talking about it, everyone else started putting them up in the street.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I looked at your application. It's very impressive. And
Thank you.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a career, obviously, in libraries and archives. And
Tell you have a passion.
exactly, yes. And we love the Way here. I have 2 sons, and we go there regularly, take advantage of the Way's services and resources. And so it would be a pleasure to serve the city and to serve the library in that way.
Yeah, Michelle, what is the Ohio Historical Records Advisory Board? Is this what used to be the Ohio Historic Commission?
No, I don't believe so. So what it is at this point in time, it's an appointed group of representative individuals. So some of us are appointed by the governor, and some of us represent various historical organizations around the state. And we advise on matters related to historic record preservation, but also the National Historic Records and HPRC. So that's the granting arm of the National Archives and Records Management Administration. Any grants that the state come through the state to that particular entity are reviewed by the board, and recommendations for NHPRC, like accepting that grant, they look for us to review those. Yeah. Sorry, long-winded.
Oh, right.
Well, I was going to get after you because I have clients that sometimes have to submit their records retention schedule
Yes.
to the Ohio Historic
Yes.
Commission, but I don't know if they have a new name now.
Ohio History Connection.
That's right.
Yeah. And they have a
I've
record.
often wondered who they are, and where these things get sent and who approves.
Yeah.
These clients seem to find them.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's in other states it's the state archives essentially, right? So, and they have a division that approves records retention schedules.
Yeah, well, I agree with Mark. I mean, we're lucky to have someone who's.
Yeah, someone is willing to step forward. And so, yeah, I'm assuming you have some great ideas you want to present to the board of things that you've seen. And
Absolutely, yeah.
That's, I'm sure they'll be willing, very receptive of that. So it's awesome. And,
I'm the support just for the Halloween decorations that I remember in your front yard. So.
chased him right out of the neighborhood.
You had a campfire or something out there, didn't you, or something?
I believe the previous owners
Oh,
were more
okay.
I can't take full credit for that.
Okay. Well, either way, there's no reason not to say no to you. I mean, with everything and your qualifications, I say we can triple the pay.
Yeah, and I think you may be the only member on the board who has young kids, so I think maybe there are others, but.
Be a breath of fresh air, I'm sure.
Sure, yeah.
Maybe that'll give them another perspective.
Right.
That would be good.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm glad you're happy to do it.
Thank you.
The next step is at the council meeting on the 19th, we'll vote, make it official. Voting.
Okay.
You're welcome to come or not, but
Okay.
It'll be towards the beginning of this.
Sure. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you
your
very
time and
much for-
consideration.
For
Thanks
volunteering.
again.
Yes.
And normally Mark's not this witty. I'll just throw that out.
No, I'm really normally pretty much a drag.
Oh, stop.
But I'm a published author now, so. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, my book's gonna be in your library.
Excellent.
Cool.
I shouldn't plug that up.
It's a little late now. You want to
Thank
strike
you.
that from the record?
Thank you, strike that, please.
Thank you for coming out, and we appreciate giving your time for us.
I told you we make finance fun. Now, you get down to business, the stuff I need explaining. Request from Amber to request to establish a new payroll clearing.
Okay, these next 4 items are kind of procedures that we need to get in place and start doing, things that the Auditor of State and the ORC like us to do. The first one is I'm requesting to establish a new fund, and it's going to be called the Payroll Clearing Fund. What this will do is after we pay payroll every other week, any deductions that are left outstanding and not due yet, like what we'll pay to the federal government, to cities, other cities, taxes that we withheld, child support, anything like that that's a withholding will go into the separate fund. And it will help us track things. It will also help with the new software. At any point in time, we can see what's outstanding in there. So it's just a new fund.
So currently, for payroll, is there a separate fund that we put everything into for payroll when it's
There's
processed?
not. It kind of just, it kind of just sticks out there until we pay it. There is a report we can run, but it's not separated in a fund, if that makes sense.
So, just so I can understand, sorry if I asking
The
questions.
more questions, the better. We all.
So when it comes time for payroll, we're basically taking the funds, putting everything that would be to go out for payroll in that fund every 2 weeks.
Yes.
And the payroll company comes and takes everything out. If there's things that hasn't been taken out, we can keep better track of it, knowing that this is something that's been encumbered to eventually leave, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And
Yes.
if we pay it, then we'll charge the actual accounts that it's supposed to be charged to and move out of the payroll clearing fund. So it's really supposed to be like a $0 fund by the end of the month.
And we
I was
do,
just gonna ask.
But the withholdings and things will be in there as well,
they'll stay in there until
Stay
they're
in
We
due.
pay them.
till they're due, okay.
So it's supposed to be a
So it's
$0.
always supposed to be empty.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, by the end, yeah. But there are some months that will have, like, PERS won't get paid until the next month.
The
next
carryover
month,
will-
So it will carry over, but the idea is that it's.
Every dollar is spoken for, so they'll all be.
And we do payroll internally.
Okay.
It's quite complicated.
You know, this says the funds will remain in the fund until they're due to other agencies or businesses. What would
A business could be,
Can employees like buy Aflac or something like that?
right now, we do have, I think, one that is left on, something like that. We do have like a Colonial Life that people can do.
Oh, okay.
There, what else was that included? Anything to VOIA, which would be anything they have withheld to go into their retirement fund.
Oh.
So that's not a government agency, but outside business. So that's why that wording's there.
Okay. That makes
Good
sense.
question.
That makes sense.
All right, so we're all in agreement that can move forward, 3-0?
I am.
All right, okay. And we'll request a set dollar limit for the blanket purchase orders. This, Amber and I had a little discussion on this, but it'd certainly be better if you explained it to everyone other than me.
I'm looking for.
I just want to make sure you get it right, so I'll just listen.
Because reading through it, I was a little confused on exactly
Right,
what this is
right.
covering.
Yes. Historically, purchase orders have not been used to their fullest through our department. And this is, I want to say, kind of a cleanup. Anything that is purchased before a purchase order was issued, if it's over $3,000 per ORC, it needs to come to council. Actually, that's the next one. Okay, so no, that's the next one.
It's all connected.
Okay. Yeah, so this is the blanket purchase order, sorry. ORC says that as a board, council has to approve a dollar amount limit for us. Right now, purchase orders get set up if something specific happens, like someone is going to a certain company to buy a certain item. They'll set up a company. These are going to be, or a purchase order. This will kind of be, I don't know, generic. It'll be for a variety of items and through a variety of vendors. So an example would be road construction materials. So that could be concrete, that could be asphalt, things of that nature. They could buy it from different vendors. You could buy it from Coolman or Shelley or Gherkin. So we would set up this kind of generic PO that anytime they need to make a purchase, they can just pull from that. They don't have to set up one specific purchase order for a specific amount to a specific vendor for a specific item.
And we're still gonna be able to maintain all our transparency that we need?
I actually think that this will make it better. Right now, like I said a little bit ago, purchase orders are not used all the time. So this way, we have some generic ones already set up to specific accounts that are used regularly.
Okay. And do you, I assume you do, but I'm trying to think through how this works. If they're making a purchase off this blanket purchase order, they've got to input that through the new financial software. And then if you or Bridget want to know, okay, how much will we spend for that cement? You can go in and see that employee John Doe spent.
Exactly.
But-
And we'll have a copy of the invoice even. We'll require that, so we'll have all the details. It would show like the location that the concrete was for, how many yards, the quantity, the price.
But who gives him authority in advance to make the purchase? Do they have to run that by somebody?
Yes. What I would like to do is have Kayla and I sit down with all departments and see what we can set up, what would be helpful for blanket purchase orders. And then we would go ahead and actually enter a purchase order in the system. It will have a number. So then they could give it right then. Anytime they need to order something, they can give that PO number to the vendor. It will be on the invoice. It will all be linked. And then when the invoice comes in, it will be applied as well.
Okay, but again, before the employee puts that in, I always had the sense our old system was pretty antiquated, but it seemed pretty safe, because you couldn't buy a damn thing unless you went to somebody and said, my impression was, you gotta sign off, either before or
I mean, the
after.
department heads and the division heads have that ability today. I mean, they make that call. It's not as if the line staff is making the decision to go out and buy concrete.
Okay,
I mean, so it's still the supervisor's responsibility
okay,
to-
that's fine.
to give permission for that to actually happen.
Okay, but there's some way in the system, you know, that in fact the department head. See, I don't want to have a scenario where we find out all of a sudden we had $20,000 in purchases made of, big pens. And then we're saying the guy just went into the system and bought this junk and no one really approved.
Yeah, I mean, because the way the financial system software is set up is that it's going to be, and we'll pick on service because we started with that. It'll be either Rob, Ron, Craig Poor, who's going to be utilizing the system and inputting invoices and attaching invoices. So they're going to have to sign off on all of that, and then it gets routed to finance.
And they can see real time what's available on that PO. They can see right now what's available on the PO, on the budget line. Right now, like our system isn't totally set up yet. We're close. We're so close. But right now, we print out reports once a month and they go out. So as soon as those reports go out, they're out of date. Drives me nuts. So honestly, this will be more strict.
Yeah.
Right now,
Okay.
people purchasing is vague.
No, okay.
Yeah, absolutely, this will help.
And if they're looking at their month-end report and forgot or didn't know that Brian Isaacson purchased something out of a line item and Rob's purchasing something out of the same line item, they could go over that line item
Yeah,
because of the timing issue
They're-
and the fact that the funds aren't encumbered.
yeah, they're working off an old report. And
Yes.
all of them looks like there's room in there.
And having the ability to utilize fully blanket purchase orders will allow them to encumber those funds and have them set aside for, utilities we talked about, it'd be great for, their generic water tap supplies, if it's pipe, if it's, valves, if it's whatever, they know they have those dollars set aside for those types of projects.
That's gonna streamline things too.
Yeah.
And, but now you're looking for us to have a set a limit on that?
Yes.
And,
$10
we're certain you have a recommendation.
Well, it says not to exceed 25,000.
We talked, and I did look at other municipalities to see what they did. 25,000 seems like it would work. What are some requirements? The PO can only be set up for the current year. So it can't fall over until the next year. We would have to close it at the end of the year, open a new one.
Calendar year, right?
Calendar year.
Okay.
Yes,
Make sure that's
not
right.
12 months. What else? So if it would be 20,000, they would spend that in June. We could close that and open a new one for 20,000. So this is just what could be open at any given time. Another thought I think was anything over 25,000 comes to council anyway.
And anything over 5 was still gonna get reviewed by us.
Yes, I could even add another report, I'm thinking out loud here, if you wanted a list of blanket POs, at our monthly meeting, stuff like that. We could
I like
provide-
that.
That's 50 pages. I mean, the 5,000 overs, I think work pretty well.
It's always been working well, and that's probably not going to, make that 3 more pages. I mean, it's just still gonna be what it normally is anyway, 5,000 and over, right?
Yeah, this is a new
We're already
concept.
doing
This will be a new concept for most of the departments and divisions, so we don't know how they could utilize them, how they will, how they could utilize them. So it'll be a work in progress for at least the next year.
Is this gonna replace the backups that we get for the credit cards, or is that?
No.
No, this doesn't replace anything. This is in addition to what we currently do.
So what's the thoughts with the dollar amounts then because I'm almost, so if it's 25,000, that PO stays open until that 25,000 hits. And then it goes to the next one. Do we want to start with 5,000, knowing that 5,000 over has to come in front of us anyway, so anything under that stays up, doesn't have to come here?
Well, you mean in front of this committee?
Yeah.
5,000. Well, you might blow through that
Well,
5,000 pretty quick.
When we set up a PO, it's already budgeted.
Okay.
So we look at the budget amount, and then if they want a blanket PO, we'll set it up, but the system won't let you set it up unless there's money in that budget item.
They
What
can
if-
also only have one of the blankets open per account code too.
At a
They
time.
can't go in and open like 5 blankets
Right.
for one account.
Okay. Well, what if we, instead of having a fixed dollar amount on there, to have the PO dollar amount set to what is the threshold of being required to go to city council? So nothing over,
25.
instead of saying just 25,000 in particular, that way, what happens?
In case that changes?
In case the number goes up or it goes down or something changes in the
Then
future.
we don't have to change this one as
Yeah.
well. I can run that by Kate and see if she's okay with that.
I would think you could put something not to exceed, because what's the section of that code? 2265 or something like that, I can't remember.
It gives that
No,
dollar
no, no.
amount.
And just peg it,
Reference that.
peg it to that.
Okay.
Well, she's got this draft ordinance that the blanket purchase order issued, blah, 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 shall not exceed the amount stipulated in the ordinance or resolution, or when not specified, shall not exceed the appropriation or legal level of control established by council.
And that's the budget.
Oh, okay. Then you just answered the question I had. I thought, what, that's the legal level of control?
The budget.
Okay.
That would work well for us. we can
That
have
way
her.
we don't have to do housekeeping items and change everything again in the future.
Yep.
If anything ever does change.
And it is 25 right now, so that's a good
I was gonna say,
starting
with
point.
the way inflation's going, we might need to bump that up, you know.
Yeah, you know.
25,000 might only get you 1 or 2 times.
Okay. So, we want to make that change on there instead of just in the legislation, not saying 25,000.
So where it
It's gonna
says,
say,
whereas a blanket purchase order amount limit not to exceed the amount in section,
Yeah, and I'm looking for the section number.
okay.
In my office.
see if I can find it. I don't even know how to even search for it. I typed in 25,000, it didn't come up.
Purchase on it.
Maybe it's under council rules. I'm glad no one's here today because this would be really boring to watch this part of the meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure no one's gonna be watching this on,
It might be,
please watch that video.
here it is, it's 252.05,
Okay.
2A. Or A2.
252,
252.05, A2A.
There it is.
like Mary Jo wrote that down.
Lowercase
There's no priority.
a to a.
I'm sure, yeah, she just said, yeah, all right, I just wait, and see if you were gonna come up with it, yeah. Okay,
So yeah, not to exceed that section of the code, I think would be appropriate to have on there. That way it keeps it cleaner. Anytime we can reference back is saves if there's ever any changes in the future.
Good idea.
so with that, we can say 3-0 forward on that, okay. All right. And now we're approving then and now purchases already.
Again, I want to know about this.
It's another new concept.
This is the one I was excited about.
So was I.
So it kind of goes with the purchase orders that we just talked about. Everything that gets paid needs to be certified by the finance director. So anything that did not have a purchase order set up before it was ordered or before the contract was entered into, anything under $3,000, I can approve per ORC. Anything over that needs to come in front of council. And I couldn't find where this had been done historically. So to make the auditors happy, this is our first then and now request. And
I've never heard of this concept. It was totally foreign to me. She gave me the code section, I'm like, I've never seen that in my life.
Yeah, I
Learned
had
something.
to ask her what it was too.
there are 6 items currently, and as we work on the blanket purchase orders, and Kayla and I can meet when we do budget with all the departments. Hopefully this doesn't happen very often. There will be some because things come up, but this is just kind of our backup to our check. Then when I make this payment, I will put a copy of the resolution right with the check, so it's all together when the auditors ask, because what they look at dates is what they look at. They'll look at the PO date, they'll look at the invoice date, they'll look at the order date, and if they don't go in line, that's when they're not happy.
So if a PO is higher than 3,000, it's supposed to come before us.
If there was not a PO, if
Oh, okay.
a
So moving
department,
forward, we're not going to see this with this new.
That's a goal.
that's the
Potential.
goal, yes,
Okay.
yes. In a perfect world, I will say that.
Yes, so then so the idea of tonight is to approve these ones and the thens,
Yes,
right?
yes. And what it means is there was money available then when the purchase was made or the contract was entered into, and there is money available now. That's the then and now.
Okay.
Now when I'm gonna pay it.
And how, I'm still stuck on this
You're
whole
fine.
system. How did this money get spent if there was not a purchase order? I mean, did someone just forget, or, I mean, is this,
Our purchasing policy doesn't necessarily require purchase orders for many types of
It's
purchases.
pretty lax right now, generic, we will say,
I don't think it's been updated
since 2012.
and that was only for, I think, credit cards.
There's only one of us up here was here.
So prior to that,
it's not my,
I don't know that it has
I want on finance.
been modified since '07 or '05. So there's a whole policy that's actually under review by our departments and divisions right now for purchasing that will go hand in hand with the new financial software. So it's going to be a whole learning curve for everybody because we're going to do things in a much different way.
The current policy does say, what does it say, anything, maintenance or anything reoccurring or any, that's a regular purchase on a regular basis, so departments are really happy with me because this is what they see, that this policy that we have in place now says, I don't need a PO, but Amber's like, well, we need a PO.
Oh, okay.
So we're kind of.
It's like
running on
it's a
the-
transition
Well, it's a transition.
period.
Thank
So I
you.
guess the question I'll ask too is, I know that right now the authorization is supposed to come to council per our code is 25,000, but this says 3,000 or more, so I'm
If a
How many
purchase
so
order
bad?
isn't set up before the purchase was made, if someone runs to the store and spends $3,500, but they didn't have a PO, that will come to you.
If it's
That's the
required to
step
have a
now.
purchase order.
Yes.
Okay.
But presumably, if you have this blanket purchase order system, there wouldn't be many of these examples, would there?
Hopefully, but we're not gonna set it up for every item, because you can only have one of these blankets per budget line. And we don't want a budget line for every single item, because then we have 5,000 accounts instead of 2,000.
Okay,
But we have.
okay.
You know, I can see
Yeah,
like
so it's
like
given.
during a water, say there's a water break and they have to run and get supplies.
That's good.
There may not be time
Right.
to go through the whole process to get a purchase order because it's 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean, those
Those would
would
be
be
for emergencies.
that's what we kind of envision it. And there's going to be the time where somebody forgets.
Yep.
They just forget.
So what's the MTM Transit?
That is right.
Oh, okay. That's right, they changed their name, didn't they?
Yes.
Yep, so Kayla and I have already set up purchase orders for some of these to get us through the end of the year. And the dollar amount doesn't matter on those because they're not blankets. They're specific to a vendor and a specific item.
Okay. And the T-shirts that were purchased, out of curiosity,
There's summer, is that summer rec?
what's this, rec, so I'm assuming summer rec.
I think it's for the summer rec
The
participants.
DRS printing.
One's public service, the other's rec.
Yeah, Aramark was service and DRS was summer rec.
Work shirts or something for the crews? Or summer help?
For the summer rec, I think it was it was either for the staff and or for
I
the,
think both.
and for the children that
$500
participate.
better
The public
results.
service one.
The public service one is probably uniforms under the Aramark contract.
Well, so Amber, if I'm reading this right, then what we're approving tonight, we shouldn't have to do this again. We shouldn't have to approve this.
Very often moving forward.
The goal
Pardon
is
me?
the
goal is to dwindle
To
them,
dwindle them, right.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
for us to not have as many.
Yeah. All right.
Be prepared to explain this at the council meeting, because I'm not gonna try to re-explain it
I
either.
will do my best.
Yes.
The words
There will be
in and out
questions.
throw me off.
This,
Make it
I
real,
feel like it's
make it
gonna
real
be-
clear in those minutes, so no one asks me questions.
And that's
Seems like an old game show or something, I
ORC
don't know.
language, I think, right? That's ORC language.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, but tell me, does the Ohio statutes say then and now? I assume they use some high-flown legal blah, blah, blah.
Reminds me of that.
I think all the auditor state publications do.
They call it then and now?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay,
I sent one to Kate today because she was questioning some of it.
interesting.
Oh, sounds like a category.
Sounds like a book.
Yeah.
Right.
Something from that $1 Million Pyramid or whatever. it was.
Jeopardy or
Jeopardy
Yeah.
category, then and now.
Might get one or two right in there, but that's about it.
Or
Or right there, yeah, I didn't want to say, I didn't want to plug it, but go ahead, Bridget, if you want to show anybody. Yeah, it's then and now.
No, cool. What was that? That's the.
Uh-huh.
So in other words, Mark, you paid Amber to put this on there.
Yes, well, you know what, when I first saw it, and it said, when she first sent me an email, it said, then and now t-shirts. I said, oh, Amber, are you getting t-shirts to promote my book? Is that what that is? Okay, so, all right. All right, so we can also say 3-0 on that then, right? All righty. Now the budget adjustments request, this is something we do in the end of the year
This
normally.
one should be easier. Yeah, normally this is towards the end of the year. I would prefer to look at them as we go. So here's our first one. There's only a couple items if you want to look at the exhibit attached. Fireworks were a little bit more than original prediction, I will say, as everything's gone up lately.
I think the $1,800 is worth it.
Yes,
I heard it was really good.
It was very
they were
good.
very
I was
good.
out of town.
They're good. The next two, the $175,000 plus and minus, we are just moving that from maintenance account to, I'm sorry, from a EDP, which is computer account, IT, to a maintenance account. So that's not a request of new money. The last two are court, and those were missed in the original budget. They did not have a request that came over from court for those two, so we need to add those.
All right, well, that, court view.
Sorry, I was showing pictures of the fireworks to Mark since he missed them.
In the court.
I wanted to make sure it was worth that $1,800. Yeah.
So the court has the cash in the fund, but they did not ask to appropriate any money in which to spend the cash. in the
These are
fund.
their funds. You see all the way on the left, it starts with the 238 and the 239.
If it's their funds, we can't
Those
really,
are,
we
exactly,
can't
right,
necessarily vote against them anyways.
right, but we need our system to show that it's approved, so that's what that is. So basically, only asking for $1,875
Yeah,
additional.
I'm
that's
okay with
easy
that.
too. Okay, all right, we're all okay with that. And, Steve's not here tonight, but,
Steve is at training, he's at the OML tax conference. So
Probably another fun event.
right. Maybe Mark could make it, you know,
That we
more
can use Mark
enjoyable.
next time.
better
Yes,
than Laredo, Texas.
next year. Tax receipts are up, as you can see, we still have that about $1.4 million anomaly. So when you take that off of the 3.4 million increase, we're at about 2%, 2 million or 16% up from where we were at the end of June 21.
Okay. One. Yeah,
I'm looking at this, looks like we're down, or am I misread? Am I on the wrong one?
Total here.
Oh, next
good
page.
Total here.
28 goes to 16.
Oh, no, I was looking at this page.
That's just for the month.
Oh, okay.
So this one is for year-to-date.
Okay.
Yep,
Still pretty good.
it is.
Yes.
And we still don't know when we'll have any information back from the state regarding those.
Still don't know what that's all about. What we'll know by the end of the year, what should we know? Or
We don't know.
I don't know.
isn't that wild that the money's just there with
Kinda
no
curious
explanation?
about the decrease in June. But,
Well, we had expected
okay.
that a lot of it is timing. We had been way up a couple months before.
Okay.
So we were expecting this to kind of help level out for year-to-date. And going forward, we should have pretty good comparisons. No more timing issues.
2020 kind of really screwed a lot of things up, so,
It sure did.
in more than one ways.
All righty, that looks good. Now the finance director's report. We were talking about expenses over 5,000. You have any questions on any items, Tim?
Yeah, I got, well, one's not really a question, but where are these birds? The Northwestern Water and Sewer District, are they ever gonna finish this project down here by the cemetery?
I saw them at lunch today, and they're keeping their fingers crossed. Their contractor is saying it should wrap up by the end of this month.
I mean, it looks like they're gone from the
Yeah,
job.
it's bad.
They're usually out there during the day, but their day starts early and then ends at like 3 or 3:30.
Okay. All right.
I know the cemetery, we've been asking about that.
Oh, yeah,
Every time they
yeah.
keep saying, oh, it's gonna be soon, it's gonna be soon.
Yeah, I mean, you got Indiana open, and now I see our project is gonna hopefully wrap up.
Our project should, this week, they should have the lanes open on Indiana. They'll still be working,
Yeah.
and then there may be one other, there'll be another closure when they put the surface course of asphalt down, and possibly when they install the new traffic signals. But they're gonna get it open, they said this week, and then they'll continue doing their work around it, and then there may be one or two other just short temporary closures.
Yeah. I thought the district thought, well, we can pull off this project, the city's screwing up.
They've been having a lot of trouble with their contractor. They only had one bid on this project, and it was a contractor that they had used before and had great success with.
Mm.
So they're not quite sure what happened.
Mhm.
But it's been a struggle for them as well to get the contractors to start work when they were supposed to start work, because I think the project was supposed to end in January, and
Oh, yeah.
then in February,
Sign up.
and then in May, and then in June, and now July.
You know, the way I see that, one lane road is just payback to mommy. So all of them having to come across have to wait a little longer.
That's right. Now to the more tangible. What's the almost $500,000 to the Ohio Water Development Authority?
That is the debt payment
Oh, okay.
for sewer infrastructure.
Yeah. That'll cost you a couple bucks.
Yep, that's a twice-a-year payment.
So Bridget, I do have a question for you, because I know this is something that we talked about, and I know we passed to do that bypass of the Simmons Road water, that is showing that we're paying out on this time. How are the negotiations going with?
We had a little kind of, I'll say, summer break hiatus because everybody either at the city or at the district was on vacation throughout the last couple weeks, but we actually meet next Tuesday.
Okay.
We're getting back together. We're actually working on the math of a couple concepts that we worked up together to see how those numbers shake out for both sides. So I think hopefully in the near future we'll have something to bring to public utilities to see if there's an appetite.
Yeah, how's the project going along? Is that moving forward?
The design work is still being, I think it's being wrapped up.
Okay.
And then, so that's kind of part of this whole negotiation that has come up during negotiations with the district.
There's a way to avoid that $186,000 payment we got there. That would be nice to see.
Yeah, not a question, but man, it looked like we paid a good chunk of change in healthcare claims in June, but yet the balance
Yeah,
is
we're
still
really
pretty
looking
strong.
good in the balance, I know.
I looked at that and I thought, man, this number.
$299.
We're getting back up to 2018 numbers
Yeah.
here pretty quick.
I flipped over to here and I thought, oh boy, this chart's gonna
look
show
bad.
way down. Oh,
700,000. Slowly going up.
That's really good. Just back on the 5,000, let's see. The construction video media, 6,800, is that? I know that they do a pre-video for road resurfacing, and then, is that much to go around and video that? That's,
It's
Okay.
well worth it when it comes to the
Oh,
number of
yes.
complaints that we got.
when they say that was never like that before?
Right, so it
Right.
comes in very handy.
I gotcha, that's great. That just shuts those accusations down right away, doesn't it, when you show them?
It does help jog people's memory.
yeah.
The next one down, 14,000, I just not sure what that is. iProject Solutions for iPlanable model.
iPlan table.
Yeah,
So that is a piece of equipment over in engineering that has multiple monitors on it and screens, and with Wi-Fi. They then can project plans, full-size plans up on this table. They can mark them, they can make notations on them. They can bring up multiple screens at the same time so they can look at, they could actually look at the camera work that was done, look at the set of plans, and they're doing it all simultaneously, side by side. So it's like a very large system. Instead of having like two screens side by side, it's actually on this table that tilts, almost like a drafting table size.
yeah,
Sounds like
Oh,
something
that's-
they'd see in the Starship Enterprise.
yeah, that's good. So that was all in the budget for that?
Yes, yeah. That's part of the equipment that the engineer requested.
Oh, yeah, wow, that's,
It's a very neat piece of technology.
okay. And annual PC replacement, which PCs get replaced annually?
They're on a schedule through IT. It's either, is it every 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? I'm not sure what the detail is, but it's rotating, so we don't replace all of them at the same time. They do so many per year. A couple per department, probably.
Okay.
And it's general funded departments and divisions.
Just to keep everything updated, is that?
Yes.
Because
Yep.
after 3 years, When you
And
say,
also-
you like the Surface Pros, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it also allows for, when there's new positions that come in, it allows them to purchase a computer for that person because we haven't had that person before, so
Oh, I
now
see.
there's funds to purchase that equipment.
What happens to the old
Yeah,
stuff?
I was just gonna say that, 'cause
Typically, I think it either gets auctioned or it's declared surplus because there's no value. I think it depends on what it is. I think it has,
Wipe everything, or?
oh yeah, they take off the hard drive,
Okay.
wipe everything. But I could verify that and report back in.
let's see. On the, I'm sure this is a resolution or something that we passed with the Clark, Schaefer, and Hackett, and it just says the project number. I'm just curious what the project.
It's our budget, or our
Audit.
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 Oh, that's the audit, okay, all right, I just didn't know what that.
Yep, and that did come to council.
Yes, of course.
Did through the state.
Soon we'll have those resolution numbers in another column, won't we?
Better reporting.
Yeah, I know. And my only question was I know we have 200,000 a year for the sidewalk program, and I see this, we spent 9,000 this time around. Is that, I'm just curious what the percentage we are on that. Is we somewhere around
I do not know.
percent complete or something? Or they're not going to go over? They just stop
I had
it?
no indication from the service director that they're gonna go over.
Okay,
But I
we
will-
just stop it.
I'll follow that up.
And if we get calls about some sidewalks, we can still just, it's not too late to put like a bad one on the list if
No,
someone
no,
calls
I
and
don't think
says,
so.
hey, this sidewalk's really bad over here, that maybe it didn't get on the list. I get those kind of calls.
Yeah,
Why?
just email them to Rob.
Okay, all right. That's the only questions I had. You got it, John?
Yeah, actually, just two quick questions. I did see we had to reissue a check from 2020 on there. I'm assuming everything was okay with that one initially.
Yeah, it was
From the-
never cashed. It was on our outstanding list.
And then the Toledo Edison, looking at how much we're paying in there, I recall it's a couple years ago, we had someone come in about joint with other communities for a solar farm. Has whatever happened?
We had our consultants, Palmer Energy, do the analysis on the numbers that they gave us, and they advised us to not pursue that there was other options that were more economical.
So now, because
So-
if I remember correctly, it was a solar farm like in Southeast Ohio or something.
It was a company that did solar farms in Southeast Ohio, and they were looking to come north. I don't think they found any takers yet.
Wasn't it gonna take a lot of acreage?
Somewhere around 582 they were looking.
It was a lot of acreage just for city of Perrysburg functions, and I don't think they fully got the schools on board, which would have increased the acreage needed. But part of our agreement with the current energy supplier is, I think, looking at us having a small sliver that is a solar option
Okay.
that we bid out the last time around with Palmer Energy.
Okay. So I was kind of wondering, as we're doing work on buildings, if there's ways that we can be more self-sufficient on the feedback. Look at seeing how much we're paying there, but I don't know what the cost would be, or if there's an economic benefit in doing that at this
Well,
time.
and hopefully some of our costs go down once we get through our process with Toledo Edison regarding the replacement of the streetlights to all LEDs. That'll have an impact as well on our bills.
Okay.
I
And
think
then,
most of our buildings are pretty much LED today.
because I recall as well, we had that fiber optic, and this is something a little different too, but the fiber optic cable line that we, with Amplex, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And that was supposed to be a net benefit for us as well, to have them going through one of the ports.
Yes, so Amplex is still working on getting their connection, I think down to Roachton Road. And then from there, that's where Gary wants to then pick up our public service building, which also has an array up on the water tower for point-to-point connection between city buildings and have that be like a redundancy, I believe.
Okay.
So Amplex is still working on that.
Just some curiosities that came up through this, so.
Now this is something I don't remember seeing on an agenda item
Yep, this
in the
is
past.
something new as well.
All right, quarterly investment report.
Our investment policy does state that quarterly I need to update your committee on our investments. So what we put together is kind of a summary. This first page shows what we have with Huntington, Raymond James, UBS, and Star Ohio. Star Ohio is zero. It's a new account that I recently set up for short-term investments. It's run through the state. They have a very attractive overnight rate right now. They're almost up to like 1.8%. So Kayla and I are working hard on cash flow and seeing what we can invest to let our money make the most it can for us.
The interest income looks like it's doing better than my retirement plan right now.
Oh,
so.
yeah. Yeah, I remember, it wasn't that long ago, I think we approved something for short-term investments, didn't we? Or,
The UBS investment.
UBS,
That's
yes.
new. We're 35
Right.
million. Yeah, but this is a new one as well.
okay,
Did not need council approval. I gave it to Kate.
great.
It's a double
Well,
check.
considering everything country's going through, we're in good shape, aren't we? Because that's where because we're invested so conservatively, right? No, we're not
With the market
not much of a
really
risk
well.
taker, are we? Yeah.
The market does really well. My retirement's going to do a lot better than that one. but-
Yeah. Yeah. Wish we could pick and choose when we own those kind of funds, but, well, I don't have any questions on that. You two?
No.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the information.
You know, I heard
Yes.
at a political event that the state of Ohio, on some of their funds, they directed it all had to be deposited in banks or whatever in Franklin County. So if you're wondering why Columbus is doing so well,
Ah,
Well, I already kind of figured that was
yeah.
there's no reason that Columbus should be as big of a town as it is.
yeah, I thought, God, that's incredible. Just localize all that in Franklin County. Because just look at what we have, to think of the state of Ohio. God.
I do like seeing that we're invested with one of our local
Right.
firms here with Skotinski.
Yeah.
That's good. Any other business to come before the committee?
Nope.
All right. Oh, I think we'll call it adjourned then, right?
Thank you.
Then and now.
I actually almost said the exact same.
That's.
The new catchphrase. Now, you know what?
Oh,
They
it's your
stole
book.
that from me. Yeah, I just got them yesterday.